me as a real person next time.
Zach, do you know what this is? If you're listening to this, you see my hand waving in front of my face. Do you know what this is, Zach?
You're invisible, John Cena.
John Cena. Listen, if you don't know John Cena, this week he retired. So
what?
That's what he said. He retired from wrestling. I don't know if he won or not, but my friend was so excited to see his last match because he's like, he's going to the Hall of Fame, and he does this thing where he waves his hand in his face, and he says, "You can't see me." But as a local business, you want to be seen.
Oh my gosh,
that's how we tie this in.
Michael said before the show, like, I got this thing. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to surprise you. That was good. That was good.
Yeah, like, listen,
you want to be seen.
You do not want to be John Cena when it comes to local business. So today we're talking about the local edge. How do you get your presence known? How do you get seen? How do you create attention? Where do you go? So Zach, let me ask you this question. If your furnace goes out, if you need a new roof, if you need new windows, where is the first place you go when you need to find something?
You know, that's a phenomenal question. And when you ask great questions like that, they demand great answers. Demand great answers. So that's a fantastic question. The first place you're going to go is, to your head. Who did I use in the past that really took care of me? Did I have a good furnace guy? Did I have a good roofer that really took care of me? And if you did, that's probably where you're going to go. Now, if that person didn't stay in touch with you and you've forgotten who that is, I might call up Michael if he's my neighbor. Hey, my furnace just went out. Who's a good heating and cooling guy? So these are the places people literally go, and we have the stats to back this up. Number one is the people who have taken care of you. Number two, referrals, friends, family, coworkers. Number three is what we specialize in. Online. People look online. So it's very important if you're a home service based business that you're number one, you build your database, you take care of your database, you nurture that database. It's not rocket science, and it's not hard. With the things that we got, Michael built out this insanely awesome, easy AI that you can stay in touch with people and it feels authentic. You got to stay in touch with that database. Number two is like, are we teaching our clients, our people to refer us? And so when I was selling real estate, that was a big deal. Like, I wanted to nurture referrals. People would move every 6 or 7 years, but they'd run into people all the time that were looking to make a move. And if I taught people how to treat me, I would get that referral. And so are we teaching people to refer a business? But number three, this is the easy button. I should say it's simple. It's not easy. This is the easy button. If you want to like blow the phones up, if you want people calling you, if you really want to grow your business quickly, there are 4 key sources that we're going to look at. So we talked about the database. We talked about referrals. These are the 4 that you want to look at. Number 1 is going to be your Google Business Profile. Now, the cool thing about the Google Business Profile, it doesn't have to cost you anything. It can be free, 90 free. In fact, a lot of our clients don't run any ads on it. You absolutely can. But if you enhance it the right way, you can beat out other companies. And so if they search best roofer near me, you're going to pop up to the top. Best, heating and cooling guy or emergency furnace repair, you'll pop to the top. Number 2 is going to be your local presence site. Now, the local presence site is something that you want to build it out in a specific way. The local presence site, when you do it the right way, the local SEO will help you rank, which will help your Google Business Profile and some of the other things we're going to talk about soon too. But Michael, I'm going to have you talk about this. The calls to action, the things that get people to raise their hand, what we call the MOFers, the MIFKIs, the things that you built on the site. It has to be a site that actually converts. You could have the best website in the world in terms of like thousands and thousands and thousands of people going to it every second. But if none of those turn into actual clients, if none of those turn into appointments, it's a complete waste of time. Talk a little bit, Michael, about what we do to enhance it, and then we'll go into the other 2 sources.
Yeah, a couple of things. Well, one, I have a buddy, and I think you told me this. Like, hey, if you say a phrase more than 3 times, you can own it as your own, right? So, but I'm still going to give this guy props. So I have a friend who told me one time, because we, when we first started out, we thought design, we need something to look cool. We needed the nice graphics. We need the new art, the newest video stuff and animation and all this other stuff. And he said, design without results is just art. Oof. And it goes the same for your website, right? You can pay tens of thousands for a website, but if it doesn't convert, it's just art, right? It looks cool. It looks nice. And I remember he would tell people, he said, I could put words on a page, just words, and they will convert better than most people when they create like the most fancy graphics. So that's what you have to think. When you look at your website, when you look at your materials, whatever you're doing for marketing, is it creating some type of result? And we can go deeper into that in another episode, but there's a whole formula, there's this whole strategy on what that looks like. So that's important. What was the other thing you wanted me to say?
Well, hang on. Let me add on to that. So like when you talk about those words that are on there, we got to get into the head. We got to play a little bit of a psychologist, as business owners here. If, Michael temporarily lives in the frigid tundra up north. Michael lives, up in Ohio. I live in Michigan. Michael's smart. He's going to be moving back to Florida. I love the cold, but if my furnace goes out and I'm cold, the first thing is I got to get heat in this house. But the second thing is, especially in this day and age, a lot of people might not have the cash to pay for the furnace all the way up front, and things are expensive. Everything's gone up in price. So one of them, the Mifkeys make, Mulfers make offer for immediate response. Mifke, most incredible free gift ever. These things, these call to actions, these unique selling propositions. It might be like free financing, or 0% financing for X amount of time, which there are so many companies out there that we know that give you all the money up front. If they pay or don't pay, you get your money. But that gives the client, your customer, the ability to break it up into payments, right? So that is a compelling call to action that gives them to raise their hand. And now, are there other people that offer that? Sure. But a lot of them don't articulate that on their website. And so like that's the thing that, they want the heat, but they're also scared. Like, oh my goodness, I don't think I have enough money to pay for this thing. So like, what can we add in there? You're playing the psychologist. The other thing too, like Michael was talking about, my furnace goes out. I have a leak in my roof. Something's happening. I Google best roofer near me, best heating and cooling guy near me. I pick up the phone, I call the person, and this is something that sometimes we point. I'm gonna get on a soapbox a little bit. We point at our clients like, you gotta answer the phone, like pick up the phone, because they're gonna call that first person. They're gonna quickly check your reviews. Like you purchase stuff on Amazon, or when you look on Google, do they have good reviews? Yes, they do. Then you pick up the phone, you call them. What do you say? You say hello, and then
hello. That's all it takes.
You say if hello. You don't say hello, then it all falls apart. What do? Then they call the next person. They go on to the next person. And so these leads that when you start doing this, you have to answer the phone right away.
Yeah, let me give you a real life example, because in the beginning you talked about, hey, when something happens, and who do you go? You go to friends and family. You first try to find there, and then there's all the other sources. When we first moved to Florida, we knew nobody. I had my parents, and that was it. So when I needed something done in the house, and it was something simple, I just wanted, we have this shower that stands up, and it was leaking a little bit, so it needed new caulk or whatever. And could I have done it? Yeah, but I was I want a professional to do it. So the first thing I do is I call my mother, and she's like, hey, you need to call Terry. Terry knows everybody in the neighborhood. So I call Terry, and Terry's like, hey, I got this handyman. Here's his number, da-da-da-da. I didn't look him up. I didn't do any of that stuff. So I hired this guy. I paid him. He came in, and I have to tell you, he didn't do such a great job, right? So I was a little disappointed. So when the second time we needed something done, I was like, well, I'm not going to go to Terry again, because I kind of right. That relationship, and I love Terry, right? But it was I don't, whatever, the handyman, he didn't work out. He actually ruined some of our stuff. I was so upset. And I was like, all right, what's the next thing I'm going to do? If I know nobody in this area, I'm not going to trust somebody. I went to Google. And the first thing I did was I looked at their Google business profile, and I looked at the reviews, right? And then I had to ask myself, what reviews are real? What reviews were fake, right? Like I wanted some honest reviews. So I literally read the reviews because my house is my home, right? I didn't care how much it cost. I just wanted things done correctly. And I think that was important. So your Google business profile, I don't think people give it enough credit or give it enough time to really you really need to manage it and focus on that, because that is a key component. Because even if you ran ads, right? So if I taught best handyman in my area, I'm going to get an ad. I'm going to get a Google business profile. So I click on their ad. I look at their website. I'm looking, okay, they do good work. All right, great. Now I'm going back to Google and I'm going to look up their business profile. Okay, oh, they got good reviews. All right, I trust them. Let's hit call, right? So that's the customer journey of all this. Even in an emergency, you want to make sure, like when they're doing that initial search, that one, you're popping up, you got good reviews, you got good work, and that's going to give you the best intent for people to come do work with you. So
I totally agree, and I want to address something that you talked about, something that when I was running a team, that it's really important when you do get a referral from someone. So Terry referred you to the handyman. Handyman didn't do a great job. That stinks, and sometimes that'll happen, right? Like if you're waiting for perfection, you're going to wait a long time. However, when you do a job, that referral source, you got to treat that referral source better than the referral that they gave you. And what do I mean by that? Well, if Michael sends me a client, I'm going to let them know, hey, I just met with a person. They love it. We're moving forward. We're doing this stuff. Hey, we just engaged. We're doing whatever it is. Hey, we just finished the project. They're thrilled to death. That reassures Michael that he can send me more business. And this is the key to turning these people into a referral source. If you do this the right way, you will be unstoppable. Your competitors will be scratching their head like, how in the heck is he getting this much business? Because they can't track referrals. These things don't happen online. And so it's really important to take care of that referral source, and then obviously do a great job. It's so important to do a great job. Bad referrals, people are very, very quick to leave you a bad review. Bad reviews, and I didn't mean to say referrals, bad reviews will quickly make it very challenging in your business to grow. And so obviously doing a great job at taking care of that referral source. So we talked about the Google business profile. We talked about the local presence site. Let's talk about local service ads. Now, this, depending on, Google's getting a little moody lately. Like Google is interesting. I firmly believe that Google has suppressed AI for a long time. And why did they do that? Well, for the people of the vast majority of people that use Chat GPT, they use it like a Google search. Like, tell me about blah, 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 and then Chat GPT will spit out this thing. And Google, wants you to go to Google and type that in and then pop up the results. And then there's their ads and all these things that go along with it. And so at some point, Chat GPT is growing. Google's like, all right, we got to get back into it. And so why do I say Google's, like bipolar, a little bit moody? Well, the results are different each time you search for something. Sometimes it'll have the AI stuff up there, the AI, summary up there. Sometimes it'll have, a Google business profile, and it depends, and it oscillates back and forth. And, Google's finding the best system to do it. But a lot of times when I do a search like best plumber near me, best, home, repair guy or handyman, whatever it is, the first thing that will pop up are local service ads. And these leads, oh my gosh, they're worth their weight in gold.
Well, tell them what happened, what they got. So Google prioritizes these specific leads because there's a process. You got to get the Google guarantee. So you have to submit paperwork, your license, your insurance, and they want to make sure that whoever that they're promoting at the very top is legit. And they also expect you to have reviews on your business profile. So they do a lot of screening before you're allowed to have this priority, because in the line of the structure, your local service ads are going to be at the very top, above people paying for search intent ads, right? So that's going to give you, and it gives you a picture. It shows your reviews right away, like 5-star reviews, how many. It also shows like this check mark where it's Google guaranteed. So they do a lot of work before these people actually show up there. So that's why it's specifically prioritized, because there's a lot of vetting that happens for these specific type of ads.
There is, and typically there's a lot of competition out there too. You know, there's certain industries where, you know, they're still stuck in the 1980s where they haven't embraced these ads, but these are a huge opportunity. These leads are the best of the best. They have super high intent. And we're going to talk about intent in just a second on the last source of business. And so not only is Michael right, like you got to set all these things up the right way. You got to jump through some hoops. You got to get, you know, verified, all the things, you know, because Google desperately cares about the user, right? Google's free. But you know, they care about the experience of the user, because if they have a bad experience, just like Michael, you were talking about your friend Terry, you got a bad referral. Well, you're probably not going to go back to Terry, just like you said. You know, I used to like Terry, but I'm not going to go back to Terry for the referral. If I have a bad experience with Google, I'm going to go find a different place to go. So Google doesn't want to have that happen. So Google really cares about that. They vet people really well, almost too well, because sometimes it's a bear to get some of these things set up. But the next thing, once you get that set up, it's important to make sure you rank well. And there's probably a list of like 30 different things that you can do to really get that ranked towards the top. And I'm going to encourage you, if you go to our website, cruxlocal.com, CRUX local.com, you can get a free local presence audit. It will show you who's out there, you know, stealing your clients, you know, eating your lunch. And it'll also show you exactly what you need to do to start enhance your local presence site. Now, we talked about the Google Business Profile. We talked about the local presence site. We talked about local service ads. These are 3 key sources. If you want to have an unfair advantage in growing your business, when you master those 3, and then the 4th that we're going to talk about in just a second, your business will grow in an unfair way. And that local presence audit that we have on our site, where it's going to show you exactly what to do, and more importantly, what not to do to grow your business. Now, the 4th source, this is where Michael Gabriel shines like a diamond in the sky. Like you can totally see him. This is pay-per-click traffic. Pay-per-click traffic is it's like a 2-edged sword. It can quickly build your company, and it can quickly destroy your company. It's one of those things. Like, before I got into relationship with Michael Gabriel, I focused on the Google Business Profile. I focused on local service ads, and I focused on the local presence site, because those things for me were easy. It's almost like you need a degree to run Facebook ads at a high level, Google ads at a high level, YouTube ad, all these things. Like, they're all different. And they, you know, the thing that really frustrates me is they change all the time. But Michael gets this. When done right, this is probably the most dangerously awesome thing you can bring into your business when done right. So can you talk, Mike, a little bit about that 4th source of traffic in terms of enhancing your local edge for visibility?
Yeah. So we're really talking about keywords, right? When we're searching, when we're going to Google, we're typing in, you know, best, you know, home remodeler near me, or kitchen design, or bathroom design, or whatever it is. You're typing in these keywords specifically so you can find a result. So those keywords is that next component. It's like, when these keywords hit, let's show an ad that's related to the keyword. Now, the goal of all this is to take up as much space as possible on Google, right? So if you start with your local service ads that have the most priority, the next piece is probably going to be your Google keyword search, your pay-per-click ad, and then below that is your Google My Business. So if you're hitting all of these 3 elements, that gives you the best possible way to find clients, right? So there's a lot of nuances to pay-per-click, right? So they have something called a quality score. Zach said it earlier. Hey, at the end of the day, Google wants you to have a great experience with as a user. They want people to stay on the platform. They want people to make sure that they're getting the right things that they want, the right ads, the right results, everything at the right time. So keywords is specifically important. So the quality score measures things in a certain way. So it's like, how is your keywords inside the headline? Are your keywords inside the description? How, you know, when they're even checking your website, when they click to your website, how long are they staying on? Are they bouncing right away with, you know, less than 10 seconds? Are they staying on for 30 seconds or a minute? If they're staying on longer, that's telling Google, that's sending signals to Google saying, hey, what they were searching for is relevant. Let's give them more priority. Let's give them cheaper ads. Let's do all these things. So there's all these elements that you have to do to really make sure your quality score is high, that you're being relevant, your ads are at the top. And that's one piece of it. The next big piece is negative keywords.
Oh,
If
that's
you're
a good
not
one. I was hoping you're going to go there, because I was thinking
yeah,
about, when we'll work with real estate agents too, right? And like one of the common keywords they think they want to go after is realtor, right? The term realtor, but that's actually a bad keyword to go after. There was 9 billion with a B real estate web searches last year. There was nowhere near 9 billion home sales last year. People can't get enough of real estate. They want to look at real estate. And so they'll look up best houses for sale in Florida. Why? Because it's cold out here in Ohio and Michigan, right? And so they're just looking. They're literally just looking. That's not the traffic that you want. A great example of a negative keyword is realtor. People are trying to get to the realtor.com site and they just type out realtor. They're just looking for houses. And so while that keyword has a lot of traffic behind it, the intent stinks. Absolutely stinks. And so that's a great negative keyword. Another example, I remember, Michael, you showing me this too. Like we were working with a local contractor and you put in like worst contractor near me and a bunch of places popped up with ads. Like, oh,
yeah,
I'm the worst contractor. I'm like, whoa.
yeah. So worse would be that negative keyword, and because they were going after contractor, but they didn't have negative keywords in there. So sometimes people want to know who to stay away from. Bad reviews or contractors with bad reviews, and you're going after that word contractor. You're popping up, but bad reviews is behind it. That elevates your status because now you're paying for something that you don't want to show up for. So negative keywords is another piece. At the end of the day, we want people to have a great experience. You want to find the right customers looking for you that are raising their hand for the services that you provide. So it's important to make sure those specific keywords, the local service ads, and your Google My Business profile is optimized in a way that you are on top and taking up as much space for Google as possible.
Totally agree. So if you again want to see what competitors are eating your lunch, and you want to come up with a roadmap to make sure that they're not anymore, cruxlocal.com, CRUX local.com. Go there, do the local presence audit. It's totally free. You'll see, like I said, what to do, more importantly, what not to do. More than happy to break that down with you. We have zero pressure sales with us. If it makes sense to work with us, great. There's a certain type of client that we're looking for, that we really love to grow with, but we're willing to help anybody on this. Like
Yeah.
this is something that, there's a lot of people out there that love sports and that's their thing. Like they can't get enough sports. Like this is my sports. I love this, where, we could play Monopoly or we could play real life Monopoly. And that's what we're talking about. Right. And so I love to help people. If it makes sense to work with us, great. If not, if I can help you out, I'd love to help you out too. So go to cruxlocal.com and fill out that local presence audit. And then we can take a look at what to do to really help your business grow.
CRUX local.com.